centers as well as 60 strip centers. And I would like to take you through 3 of the methodologies we use to kind of track visitor customers, get an idea of trends, what time of day they're coming, who's coming, etc. And so I'll take you through the 3 methodologies. The first is our smart camera interface. Second would be Wi-Fi data collection. And third is mobile app location services data. For the smart camera interface, we place cameras above entrances and exits of our malls. There's an AI software layer that analyzes the camera feed's contents and reports back the counts of visitors detected above a specific threshold, height threshold, in 15-minute increments. And so what that height threshold does is it kind of kicks out any counts of children that are coming into the mall, and it lets us know, who are our shoppers that are coming into the mall. I believe it's also, privacy stipulations that kind of require us to kick out children from that count. This is by far the most accurate, and it's also a very expensive system. We're currently only demoing it at one of our properties, the mall at Fairfield Commons in the Dayton, Ohio area. And with that, the 2 cameras run us several $1,000s a year to operate. The second methodology, which we've been getting pretty widespread use, is Wi-Fi data collection. So all our malls offer Wi-Fi, at the property for our guests. Part of, what we're able to do with that system that we're providing to the guest is it allows for real-time tracking of Wi-Fi enabled devices as they come and enter the property. Access points are installed throughout the properties and detect and log mobile device locations as they enter and travel around the property. And then from there, we can automate the detection of traffic patterns and able to analyze, evaluate, and report on results on mobile device data collection as it's continuously collected. As you can see over here, and I'm not sure if I moved the screen from Zoom, you can see our portfolio of visitor traffic year over year. And so this is starting beginning of March 2020 through August 2020. And so this is weekly year over year counts. As you can see, beginning of March, before COVID was really concerned in the United States, we were tracking down about 8%. And then you can see pretty rapidly as the shutdowns start to get announced, going into April, none of our malls are open at this point. We have lost, approximately 90% of all the Wi-Fi traffic that's detected at our centers. Our malls, for the most part, begin to reopen in mid-May. You can see a recovery. And then about end of June, July is, when we get the announcement that there's a second wave of COVID. Declines through July, and then we hit the end of July, beginning of August, we hit back to school season, very popular time for shopping malls. And then from there, it's been increasing, and the past, 3 weeks of August, we've had a pretty steady, it's a weekly year-over-year decline of about 35%. One of the other tools we offered for our property teams are heat mapping. Heat mapping modules register AP counts of mobile devices over several different periods of time, as well as the average dwell time of the mobile device. Using this data, we're able to determine hot and cold spots throughout the malls. One interesting thing I saw when analyzing, what the effect of COVID was, take a map of Polaris Fashion Place, which is our big mall in Columbus, Ohio. Look at a February 2020 heat map, normal month. You're not really getting any of the, holiday returns in that month. And it's, certainly before any of the COVID concerns hit. And then comparing that to an August 2020 heat map, you'll notice the interiors of the property, we're getting about half the counts. And then interestingly enough, if you're familiar with Polaris, over on this right side, you have that kind of hybrid outdoor section. That's where Barnes & Nobles is. That's where Forever 21 is. It's where the Buckeye Corner is. And the traffic drop off from that was much less drastic than we noticed for the interior of the center. And that kind of implies, and what everyone kind of has in their head as well, is that, these outdoor hybrid centers, you're not going into the interior mall. It's, must be safer for, dealing with the coronavirus. Take you through some of the traffic counts and how we report on it to our property teams. So the data is provided to us from our data engineers. They give us daily and hourly increments for the property as well as each individual AP, and that's for 55 of our mall properties. And so they upload this to a SQL server, and every evening we pull down the day's data from the SQL server. So that's all 55 properties, and then all those individual AP counts by hour. We report on to the property teams the total devices seen, the average amount of time spent at the property by each visitor for the given period. And this reporting is automated. It's done on a weekly and monthly basis, and it gets emailed out to about 180 people, 55 property teams. It's really little interaction on my part, just downloading from the SQL server, and then after that, running through the AI and then automating the sending out of the reports. And then the third methodology that we use that I wanted to give the most attention is mobile app location services. So you can buy this data from data providers. There's really not that many. I've talked to maybe 5 or 6. And what they're constantly doing is purchasing location services rights from various free apps. Words with Friends would be a popular one, Candy Crush, those sorts of things. When you tell them that you'd like to share your location services, not only do they improve user experience of the app, but they're also selling that data, and then it gets aggregated by companies, and then people like us can come in and kind of see what's going on with the property, who is visiting our property, and where their home location is. So it's typically a credit-based system. I know for us, this upcoming year, we purchased 150 credits. And what that credit does is we pull up a map interface on their website. We draw a polygon around our property. And so we would like a report on all mobile devices within their catchment pool of apps that crossed this threshold into the property. That data extract, it returns home block groups, zip codes, the city the person lives, the day of the week that they visited, as well as the time of day. So I went ahead and I ran this extract twice for Polaris Mall. One is a March 2019 through February 2020 extract. That's the full year before coronavirus hit. Just to kind of get a baseline of what Polaris Mall was experiencing. Through that data extract, we were able to extract 144,291 devices that visited Polaris Mall in that year. And that also includes, people that made multiple visits. We found on average, and it was mostly unchanged between the March 2000 or the 2019 counts and the summer 2020 counts. People typically go for both those time periods is about 1.7 times. And then so for that summer 2020, malls reopened in mid-May, and then through, we get data into the platform 3 or 4 days after it's captured. And so this goes all the way through the end of August 2020, and we are able to capture 41,558 devices that visited our mall during this, COVID summer. Some of the trends we found. Weekday traffic is significantly less affected compared to weekends when looking at the summer, with dealing with COVID. On Monday through Thursday, for that 2019 mobile data extract, on average, we found 446 visits observed per day for those Monday through Thursday weekdays. For summer 2020, we found on average 373 visits were observed, and so that is a decline of 16.3%. When you start to look at the weekend days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for that 2019 mobile data extract, 612 visits were noticed on average per day. You go to summer 2020 and it's only 399, and so that is a decline of 34.9%. So as you can see, summer 2020, it's fairly steady baseline. We're not getting too much of an increase of our weekend traffic. And then again, that weekday traffic hasn't fallen off too much, and that weekend traffic has, fell pretty substantially, when dealing with the COVID crisis. Also, we looked at the time of day comparison. The middle of the day is significantly less affected compared to morning and evenings. As you can see here, morning, and it should be noted that Polaris Mall, when we reopened in May, we changed the operating hours. So it's now 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's much more restricted. This morning, part of that morning, the mall is closed, decline of 36.9%. Midday hours, a decline of 14.1, early evening hours, decline of 13.3. And then the evening hours, certainly, part of this, only capturing 96 visits is because, the mall's not open past 7 p.m. We have a decline of 55.4% of visitors. We can also see, what census block groups, zip codes people come from, and kind of pair that with census data. So here's a look at the median visitor household income. Household income in our visitors has shifted, higher income brackets are visiting more often. The median household income of our visitors for summer 2020 is $98,000 compared to $93,000 for that 2019 data extract. As you can see here, the dark purple is the actual visitors. And as you can see here, comparing summer 2020 to 2019, as you get into these higher income buckets, we're certainly drawing more of those people. And then, something else that's interesting that we use this report for, this light purple is the median income that you would expect for the 30-minute drive time around Polaris Mall. And then so both charts, you can certainly see that, Polaris Mall tends to attract a higher income type customer than necessarily those who just happen to live the 30 minutes around the mall. I was also able to run heat maps for the two, and it's pretty telling that customer home location heat map shows extensive losses to customers in the city of Columbus proper, while visitors from nearby suburban locations remain mostly unaffected. You can see our 2019 extract. Polaris is on the north side of Columbus, right above 270. You get down to the interior of Columbus, you have some light purple shading, but you come over here to the 2020, summer 2020 map, and it's, you're hardly pulling anybody from, Columbus proper, downtown, OSU campus, Clintonville, short north area. I also wanted to show you all some additional case studies we do. So we use this as a tool to evaluate how our redevelopments are doing. And so this is a study we did for a dog park we built at Cottonwood Mall in Albuquerque. It's out in the parking lot. And then so in Albuquerque, I've never been, it's all research I've done remotely from Columbus, Ohio, but Albuquerque has a very nice city-run dog park, North Domingo Baca Dog Park. In the center of town, 400 plus Google reviews, giving an average of 4.7 ratings. Online it looks like a very nice dog park. And then so I ran the data extract for the year before our Cottonwood Dog Park opened, and the year after, on that first year that our mall dog park was open. I ran that data extract on the city-run dog park to see how customer, or I guess it's not customers, but how visitors to the dog park changed in that year prior and the year after our competitor dog park opening. As you can see, the left, the year prior, certainly everybody from the city center is all visiting the dog park. And then you also have, it's kind of hard to see, west of this river, which our mall is also west of this river. It's kind of hard to get, back and forth into the city center from. Certainly there is plenty of people on the west side of the river that visit the North Domingo Baca Dog Park. You come over here on the right side, to that year, that first year that our Cottonwood Mall dog park is open. Certainly you're still capturing people to the city, North Domingo Baca Dog Park. People in the city center are certainly going. But as you can see up north, down south here, you are really not capturing as many visitors that are going to the city-run dog park. The assumption being is that they're all coming to the Cottonwood Mall dog park. Another interesting analysis that we were able to run from that data is the average trip length that visitors to North Domingo Baca Dog Park take for that year prior. Starting in January 2017, it's around 42, 45 minutes that it takes the average visitor to reach the dog park. So that year before, it's around the 42, 45 minutes. I mean, I think it's pretty interesting. You come into August, September, those hotter months in Albuquerque, and that average trip length certainly declines. And then you get into, the dead of winter, and you're getting more and more people from further out. The average trip length goes up to 46. So, 45, 42, 45, you take it all the way over to 2018 when our dog park opened, and you can very clearly see that the average trip time for somebody visiting our competitor dog park, it plummets. 2018, our park gets more and more popular, and now we're down July 2019. The average trip time to the Albuquerque City Dog Park is 33 minutes. Whereas before our competitor opened to the dog park, it was 42. So pretty significant decline in that average time. And then one more additional case study. So we are looking at doing a sponsorship for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at one of our nice outdoor centers in Clay Terrace. It's just north of Indianapolis, about 20 minutes. And then so from there, we were able to show them doing a data extract for that race weekend in May 2019. The red we have here is where visitors to the Speedway, to the races are all coming from for that weekend. In the blue up here, Clay Terrace, this is where our visitors typically tend to come from for the entire year of 2019. And then as you can see here, the purple shaded ones where it overlaps, those are people that, not only are they visiting the Speedway during race weekend, but they're also frequent shoppers of our Clay Terrace shopping center. And then so, with the Indy 500 Raceway, they come to us looking to do sponsorship. They tell us, we are looking for a certain constituent that has, an education level of this, an income level of this. And from that, we were able to show them that, yes, the customers that visit, the Clay Terrace Shopping Center are of a higher income level, are of a higher education level than your typical, DMA of Indianapolis, Carmel, Anderson, Indiana. And, from there, able to, pretty clearly show that, hey, our center, does have the higher income, more affluent customers, and it would be an interesting place to do your sponsorship for. And so, yeah, that would be it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Hey, Bennett, this is Melanie. Question about the dog park. So was the thought that folks would then frequent the mall because of the use of the dog park? I mean, is it a dog-friendly mall?
No, so dogs are only, allowed in the parking lot of the mall. And then, so we tried to run a data extract. I pulled up that map interface, to right where that dog park was, and drew like a little, a 20 by 20 polygon. We got some interesting results. It really varies from, how small you get, the type of results you get. So the next best thing, just trying to, demo out the data that we have access to, and trying to see, how we can sort of evaluate all the developments, redevelopments that we're doing, was to look at a competitor and see what changes from a competitor can we see. And so, we've done several of these, but I think, the dog park thing was, very clear that, city-run dog park is, certainly changing in regards to the visitors that are coming. And it happens, right, September 2018, when we open up our mall dog park.
Got it.
I think it's interesting, all of these apps that you can download to get coupons and, points for shopping. It's really, they're tracking you. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, and so we're pretty comfortable with that Wi-Fi data collection system we have, but that runs us, and we probably have like 20 access points at each property, 55 properties. So you're at 1,000 access points, and it's collecting data on an hourly basis. But that definitely runs us in the six figures on an annual basis. Whereas this, mobile location data, that we're purchasing, that extract is, it's a very quick, the one I did for Polaris Small, the 2019 compared to summer 2020, it probably cost us like $300 to do those 2 extracts. And it's not only, the Wi-Fi collection is, proprietary, where you can kind of hold that, close to our chest. We don't want to share that as much. We spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even getting that data. We want to be protective of it. When it comes to that mobile app location data, it's anybody can just come in, any of you, if you want to take out, a look at Polaris Fashion Place or any one of our properties can, spend a couple $100, log on to their web interface, draw that polygon on the map, and, instantly you're getting data. It does come in just like a giant spreadsheet. It's, I've spent a couple of years now, determining the best ways to analyze that, the best tools to use it. 144,000 mobile device observations, for that 2019 year, and it even gets bigger for different properties. It really starts to make Excel chug. I use an application called Alteryx, which is kind of like an Excel 2.0 data blending. It handles data sets of that size, much easier. And then even looking at that Wi-Fi data collection, that is like the definition of big data. Like I said, we have over 1,000 access points giving us 24 readings a day. So what is that, 24,000 a day? I can go into our SQL server and it's got all our data going back to May 2017. So at that point, you're talking about like millions and millions of lines of data.
That's incredible.
Sifting through and, it's taking that raw data and trying to create, graphics, reporting, visualization, heat maps, that sort of thing.
So interesting. Any other questions?
Hey, Bennett, this is Chad. Not necessarily a question, but I love going through data like this. I think it's fascinating stuff and how it can be used to inform decisions, whether real estate and where to develop, or how to really get granular in either marketing or understanding where your potential audience or vendors are coming from. I love going through this. Job well done, man. It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's been a really enjoyable experience. Just kind of having these, big spreadsheets just kind of plopped on my desk and trying to figure out, where to go from there. Polaris is probably a bad example because it's more of like a regional attraction. I'm sure, some of our Cincinnati and our Cleveland people in attendance have visited Polaris Mall. But I think it's pretty, in our mall portfolio, it's a lot of B and C assets. We got a lot of those from the Simon Property Group spinoff. They kept their best malls and gave us, the B's and C's. Polaris is definitely a gem in our portfolio. But, interestingly enough, when you look at that income analysis, I think it's pretty telling to say that, hey, retailer, you're used to, demographics given to you in 10, 15 mile rings, more advances, 30, 60-minute drive time. This is what the income is. But showing that Polaris median income of people that actually visit, you can see it's significantly higher. It's people that visit Polaris Mall, have significantly more money than the neighborhood would suggest.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.